reactions of many people to J. Cole's apology is one example of why many people do not apologize. Who wants to do something that makes you perceived as weaker? So, what I want to talk about today is the cruelties of the world and why many people find it difficult or pointless to apologize. And that's evidenced in a large response to J. Cole's apology towards Kendrick Lamar. Now, what I saw when I watched the video, before I saw any response or reactions to it, I'm a Cole fan personally. I'm a Kendrick fan as well, so I was always neutral on it. But what I saw is someone taking accountability for their role in something. Something didn't sit right on his heart. Something didn't sit right in his spirit. So he made his best attempt at fixing it. If you were fans of Kendrick and J. Cole, you took it as a friendly competition anyways. So anyone who was saying either one of them were trash or garbage or weak, you probably weren't part of the core following anyways. But the fact that I've seen people respond with calling him soft, or that an apology or taking accountability for something you felt in your heart, you felt in your spirit, it just didn't sit right with you. And when you act on that, you're perceived as a weaker human being, a weaker man, less than. Some might be like, it's not that deep, but it is that deep. It is that deep. We see it around us all the time. Like, look around you. Look how many people don't want to take accountability. Look how many people don't really want to be the bigger person. Everybody's waiting for the other person to step forward because the other person owes them something. You ask people, are you self-aware?
Yeah, I'm self-aware.
Do you take accountability?
Yeah, I take accountability for everything.
But then you look around and you see so many victims. So many people that choose to cling on to being victimized, so they blame everybody for the circumstances. Subconsciously and deep down, they feel owed something. They feel owed an apology. So when I watched that, I applauded it. I felt like he handled it the right way. Sometimes you forget how cruel the world is. All you have to do is click that comment section. Sometimes you forget that there's levels to growth, and you forget how along that way in your journey while you're rising up, everybody's not rising up. So sometimes I admit I'm still thrown off. You know, I'll watch something, I'll react to it, or I have my own opinion of it, and then you read the comments and it's like, oh, it's the complete opposite. So when I saw that after him expressing his regret and his response, or how he handled the situation, I saw him being perceived as soft and weak. I think that's a clear example of why people do not want to express remorse, why they do not want to apologize, why they do not want to express regret. Because external forces, outside opinions, viewing you as weaker because so. Who wants to do something that makes you the bigger man when from the outside you're viewed as the smaller man, the weaker man? See, what's important about that as well is the superior man doesn't care about the external opinions. The superior man takes accountability regardless of how other people will feel. I'm pretty positive that's who J. Cole is. So when you see him say that after he released his response, there were a couple of days he couldn't sleep well, and that reminded him of how many nights he was sleeping in that peace. So if he felt that didn't represent his purpose, if he felt that that was not him, who are we to say that he is less than or weaker or less of a competitor? At the end of the day, they're friends, correct? I'm not in the industry. I don't know how often they keep in contact, but I will say that most of us, especially followers of both, believe that they definitely have a mutual respect for each other. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I as well felt like it was friendly competition from the beginning when Kendrick Lamar initially said something on like that. But it definitely felt like it was more towards Drake. But I think maybe, the fuck the big three after J. Cole, I felt like was showing love and respect to Kendrick when he said his line. So maybe that was where J. Cole felt like, okay, let me respond. My homies telling me to respond, the. Telling me to respond. I like the track. I like J. Cole's response. It was mixed. There was definitely people who, I guess they wanted him to go for blood. I guess they wanted him to bring up his family or something. I don't know. But we live in a society that just wants to see drama, wants to see pain, wants to see that tea spilled. It's all entertainment, because at the end of the day, that's what we want. And I applaud J. Cole for quickly realizing that that wasn't what he wanted to do. That's not what he wanted to represent. I do think it'd be different if he was maybe really at odds with somebody who came at him. But I also don't think that's necessarily who he is as an individual or as a rapper. I don't think that's who he is. It's never really been about the negativity. But this just is an example of why people don't want to apologize. I've observed this in my own life, my own dealings, and in those around me. When two people get into an altercation, disagreement, argument, shouting, yelling, saying things they don't mean, saying things they do mean, usually one or both, after the dust settles, one or both feels regretful about how it played out. What usually I've seen keeps one or both sides from coming forward and expressing that regret is the fact that if I go and I apologize, I'm the loser. If I go and I apologize, I'm taking complete blame. And that other person may feel like if they apologize to me, then I was right. I did no wrong. I had no wrong in the situation. But that's not what accountability is about. Accountability is about taking responsibility for your role in any given situation, taking responsibility for your circumstances. Accountability is not about whether or not this person is going to be apologetic for their role or not. That is indeed what makes the bigger man. You apologize and you let it be. You apologize and you hands up after that. I'm sorry for my role in this situation. I was wrong here. I should have handled it differently. My ego got in the way. That was completely disrespectful. You didn't deserve that. And in that apology, it's not their job to forgive you on the spot or apologize back. And if you needed an apology in return, I don't know that you were ever apologetic in the first place. You take responsibility for yours and you leave it at that. But because of the one-sidedness of that, if I apologize, then it absolves them of any responsibility in the situation. So I'd rather not apologize if they're going to think they were right. I'd rather not apologize if I'm going to be viewed weaker. I'd rather not apologize if I'm the one to blame. I'd rather not apologize if they're going to throw it in my face. I'd rather not apologize if now you don't respect me because of it. At the end of the day, that's all ego. At the end of the day, if you expect the masses to be wise, the masses to be self-aware, the masses to understand, the masses to respect your vulnerability, an apology is being vulnerable. That kind of vulnerability is strength. So once again, I applaud J. Cole. It's an example of what many of us need to have more of in us. When we feel wrong in spirit and we feel driven to set things straight, you're either operating in spirit or you're operating in ego. You can never go wrong when you operate in spirit. Ego tells you, well, everybody else is going to think this and that about me if I do it. Spirit just tells you it's the right thing. Spirit just wants you to have a clean conscience. Ego's just trying to protect itself. If spirit is leading you to do something, then do it. So if spirit was leading him to apologize, or not even apologize, just express regret. He said it was the lamest shit that he's ever done. So if spirit led him to express that, and if spirit leads him to remove that track from the project, then I think that's what's supposed to be done. I think many times we don't follow spirit, we follow ego. And this response by many people, like I said, not all, but many people, his apology is in some form a weakness of his character, a weakness of his artistry. If you're looking to please the masses, that's never going to happen. And if you are pleasing the masses, strong chance that you might be doing something wrong, something unwise.